Hey, my bruchacherinos and bruchacherinas, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. In today's video, guys, if you spend the next 30 minutes with me, because listen what I've done. I have removed all the bars and everything. I've cleaned up from my bars and I've removed all the keybinds and everything, so I'm wipe cleaned my character. And in the next 20, 10, 30 minutes, I don't know how much the video will take, but anyway, in the next video length, if you spend it with me, you're gonna know everything you need to know about key binding and macroing. You know, that's my plan. You know, I want to make a guide because this is how the idea started. You know, the other day I was playing arena and pushing on my monk. You know, I was playing, actually not pushing, but I was trying to teach myself how to 1v2 by playing with players that have like little idea on how to play arenas. And you know, after that I've discovered a partner that wanted to learn more, so invited to Discord and we've talked about it. And I've been told, like, why don't make guide about this, because most of the guys that are there, they don't share like half of the things that you've told me already in like 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, if that's that important, let's make a video about it and let my bros know about the things that no one really tells you about. So in this video I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know. So if you wipe your character clean and go with me, I will not really tell you exactly how to keybind, like which button to press, but I'll tell you the logics. And by those logics, you're gonna be able to bind every character. If you want me to make specific guide about specific class, let me know down in the comments. But that is all that I wanted to say in this video. So I will show you all the tricks, all the tips, what button goes where, why it goes there, what you need to see on your screen, what you don't need to see, how to macro, how to make focus macros, all that stuff. And yeah, without further ado, let's start. So first thing, as you can see, everything is wiped clean for me. What I do is I go over to my abilities in my spellbook and see, you know, that I understand what every ability does, and what is on keybind, what is not on cooldowns, what is, you know, all of that stuff. So first of all, I need to know my rotation of abilities. So Blade of Justice is one of them. Alright, I'm gonna put that on 2. Crusader Strike I'm gonna put on 1, because that's how I'm used to, you know. Usually my range abilities goes on 3. I'll tell you later about some logics. So this is my regular rotation, right? And then I have Finisher as a red, which means Templar Verdict. And then I have something that I don't need to bother that much with, but I want to have it on my bars because it's something that I will eventually use, especially in PvE. Consecration, right? So those are basically all the abilities you're gonna use in your main rotation. Now, there are other abilities that are coming from your talents, and that are also around here and stuff. So listen, you can go around this actually. So you want to find yourself a spot on your bars, like you see I've aligned all my bars to kind of, you know, have enough bars in front of my face so I can see everything. And you want to set your, let's say offensive, right? So I'm gonna put my rotation here. I'm gonna set my offensives to start from here and go around there, right? So all the offensives, these are my offensives, these are my offensives. And then we're gonna start like CC maybe, and then some other stuff. Then the defensives are a little bit bigger because I wanna see when I have my Shield of Vengeance coming up or something like that. If you're a rogue, you want to know when your Vanish and Cloaks of Shadows is coming up, Evasion as well, Feint maybe, I don't know what your talents you're going with. And all of this stuff, guys, that I'm telling you about is coming from experience in Arena in the past 15 years. I've watched, guys, you don't have to watch any other guide after this. I've watched them all, alright? So I know a lot about this stuff. I've made, you know, high in Arena as well. I mean, on this account I'm only 2.4k, but either way, 2.4k is not something you underestimate. So, you know, I've been in Arena on multiple characters above 2.2k, and all of that stuff has been achieved, you know, all of this stuff that I'm telling you have been improved upon and have been, you know, like sharpened around for years and years of experience. So this is how I do it, and this is the most efficient way, because as you can see I have a lot of alts, and all of those alts are prepared to go in Arena right now, because I know generally how my keybinds I set up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my buttons for my general rotation. Okay, not keybinds, not any, I mean not cooldowns, not anything, just my rotation. So that's what I always use on all my characters. So if I log in my monk is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for my general rotation. You know, 1 is what? 1 is my tiger palm, 2 is my that shit that spins, a talent, I forgot the name. Then 3 is my blackout kick, 4 is my rising sun kick, and 5 is my fist of fury. So same as consecration. You know, consecration you don't press often, but it's there because you need it. Also Fist of Fury, press every like 20 seconds or something, but it's there because you need it. So that's how we start about. Just find the abilities you need for your general rotation. Now we can go one by one. So this is a defensive cooldown generally. I'm just gonna like line them up like this without any logics or anything, and then I'm gonna explain you how you can go about binding them. All right. So I'll set this stuff as well here. It doesn't matter. I forgot to press shift. So this is a movement ability. So movement abilities, I don't know, like they can be also useful as defensives because, you know, you don't really have many defensives. These are some like this ability I don't have to see. You see, so I'm moving it like as far as I can because I don't need to see. There is no cooldown on it. I don't have to track it or anything. You know, if I get the only way time when I cannot use this is when I have no mana or when someone interrupts me. If someone interrupts me, I cannot use like 80% of my abilities, so I already know that I'm interrupted, and whenever that shit over, I can start using it. If I don't have mana, this is where I see my mana. So, right, if I start spamming it, you see, if for some reason it doesn't start casting, I know, oh, my mana is low, right? So at some point, like at this point, I don't really, like I cannot really cast it, but I see my mana and I understand why I cannot cast it. So eventually gonna get feel when you can cast. Like I know that around 26% or something my stuff can be casted, and that is like around, you see, around that much. I always know 25% for each flash of light. So eventually you're gonna learn that and you're gonna become better because you don't really put that stuff in front of your face, so you can always see at the bar, oh, now it's gray, I cannot cast it. Oh, now it's full color, I can cast it. Just remove it and you start using your other parts of your interface more useful as well. So that is something that we remove from the bars. This is something that is CC. I'll probably set it up here or maybe there. Then we have Hammer of Wrath, also part of my rotation, but you know, it's like, it's a memory, you know, 20% lower, blah blah, you never get to use that. This also I don't want to see in my bars, so I will just, I don't know, just put it there somewhere. I mean, I want to see on my bars, that is why I set it up left to like to be closer in my eye, so I don't have to like look this way in order to find it. But I don't, it's not really necessary because this is used for what? For maybe taunting pets in arena or something. I don't know if that still works, but you know. This is another defensive. Then we have that Shield of Righteous. This requires shields. You never really use this stuff. I mean, if you want, you can set it up as like some macro or something to these abilities, but I highly recommend you to not really, like, you never use shields basically. So yeah, this is another CC. I'm currently just throwing my abilities in my bars approximately, okay? So I want my rotation to be here, I want my offensives to be here. This is my CC. This can be also my escape abilities because it's also part, like, you know, I don't know, like, this stuff is like memory, you know, it's defensive and offensive, it's, you know, wherever you put it is fine. Then we go over to the Retribution Spells. Blinding Light is another CC, we're gonna put it somewhere there. Cleanse Toxins is something that is having cooldown 8 seconds, so it's a defensive kind of ability, so I'm gonna put it there. Divine Storm is also like part of my rotation. Execution Sentence is part of my rotation. Final Reckoning as well. Then we have Hand of Hindrance, that is also another CC. I could probably like put it closer, maybe like there and there. Alright, Rebuke is also my interrupt, which is very important, so I can put it Rebuke, then Hammer, then Hand, then this, maybe that, maybe this, there we go. I put them in priority, you know, I always, this is the shortest cooldown and I always want to see first, because when you are aggressive, you want to know when your interrupt is coming, so you can plan your abilities or stun meanwhile or something, or blind meanwhile to interrupt some cast. This is some non-useful stuff. I mean, it's useful of course, but it's not really like that useful to the point of this stuff, you know. It's usually like you even cast it automatically with Blade of Justice with PvP talents, so it's important, but not that much. It's good to see you, but it's good to see it, but you don't have to put it first in order to just drag your attention, right? Alright, and then we have Wake of Ashes, and that is pretty much all. Now we have other cooldowns, of course, that are coming from talent, so I think these are all the abilities that Red have. Right, these are everything basically, except Word of Glory. I didn't really use it. That stuff I don't need to see as well. It can go here because this is something, I mean, no, actually no. You want to see this stuff, so yeah, because sometimes it procs and it lights up, and it's free if you're going with talent like Divine Purpose. Sometimes it glows up and you want to see that glow because it's a free Word of Glory that you can throw on someone, so you want to see that stuff. For this stuff, I mean, there is also proc if you're going with Selfless Healer. Every time you like click, like, you know, click abilities, and I mean, every time you spend, what is it, your holy power spending ability to do the cast. So every time you press ability, basically this becomes like less and less cast, and eventually it becomes instant and heals for 100%. So if you go with that stuff, you can just, you know, put this also to be somewhere visible, because you want to see that, you know, cast. Usually people have weak auras for that, but if you play with that talent, then I would suggest you line them up like this, for example, right? And this is all the retri stuff, basically. Of course, you have something like Seraphim. If you play with Seraphim, you can place it there. For example, Holy Avenger, you can also place it somewhere around here. Well, I don't have any more bars here, so what I can do is do stuffs like that, and that's my rotation. These are my... so I want to see, for example, so this is how I play. So I do that, and then I do this, and then I do Templar Verdict. You know, that's basically my burst. So I do Final Reckoning, I do Execution Sentence, then I do some Wake of Ashes, then I do a Templar's Verdict or something. So yeah, and then actually this is how it should go. There we go. So that's my burst, all lined up. This is my CC, this is my burst. You can also have some more CC, I believe, with something else, Repentance maybe. So if you go with Repentance, you can do it this way. Yeah. Or Seraphim, you can put it here. It's also visible, so you have like spacing 1 bar between your CC and burst. And that is that's the first thing you have to do, like figure out what is your CC, what is your offensive, what is your defensive, what do you know. And also for defensives, this is why I have some space left here. I have another thing for defensive. What is it? Eye for an eye. I can put it here, so if I play with it, it's there. Do I have any other stuff here? Blessing of Sanctuary. I can put that there as well, because it's a dispel. You know, I can dispel sometimes with this or that. You know, this is like the removal of stun and stuff. Do you have any other clickable stuff? Probably not. And yeah, that's all. Now, those are the things. Now, how we do the keybinds? If you don't have LVI, they have made some new feature to the World of Warcraft game. It's called Easy Keybind Mode. It's basically the same as LVI Keybind or Bartender Keybinding or something. I'm really happy with the change, actually, because people that don't use any custom UIs or add-ons for that, it's, you know, easy to keybind stuff. So if you click that button, what it does, it will tell you that you can just hover over some button and click on it, and it will become, you know, it will become the keybind that you click. So first I want to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then this one is so. Let me explain you some logics here before we continue keybinding. So you want to understand where your hands are, like what buttons you have around, right? So and you make yourself heat map in your brain, like what are the buttons you click the most, what are the buttons that is easiest reachable to you. So for me, for example, behind my movement buttons, which is A, S, D, W, I can press Q real quick, I can press the tilde key or whatever that is above tab, then I can press R, R, T, E also, so E, R, T, and then F, G, and then Z, X, C, and V. I can press those buttons pretty quick, you know, like so. Now, some of those buttons are also requiring you to move your movement, you know, your hand from your movement keys, of course. So, for example, if you need to press Shift and 4, you cannot really press Shift and 4 for your Crusader Strike, because Shift 4, it's a keybind that you need to hold Shift while pressing 4, and that means that you cannot really hold D meanwhile. So if some mechanic happens and you have to like press that stuff all the time, it's part of your rotation. You cannot really do it because it's a bad keybind, you know, you cannot do it theoretically like this, maybe it works, but practically when you go into a fight and you have to press like 50,000 Crusader Strikes or something in a fight, and you have to move all the time left and right to avoid mechanics, eventually you need to either not press Crusader Strike or someone help you press it, or you have to, you know, not move and fail the mechanics. So those are some keybinds that you need to have in mind, like some you know, general idea of your keyboard, and this is how I set it up. So basically, the closest buttons to my fingers that I currently have placed on my keyboard are those buttons that I said before. So I will use those buttons to you know, set everything around my rotation and buttons that I have to click by priority. So for example, this I press a lot, this I press a lot, this I press a lot, this I don't press a lot, this also not a lot, you know. This also I press occasionally, this I press once in every like 20-30 seconds, and also there are also other things, like for example Hammer of Justice, or Shadow Step Kidney Shot, or I don't know, like Paralyze or something, or Asphyxiate. Those are buttons that you need to also have, you know, like find a letter that it's easy for you to press, but also it's easy to press it with Shift and Control, because I'll tell you later how you can actually set up one button to do multiple things. You know, like for example, if you press, for example, my Hand of Justice is usually the same as every other CC on other of my characters. Paralyze is T, Hand of Justice is T, my Asphyxiate is T, I mean everything that I have that is basically CC on most of my characters except for my casters. That's a different story. I play them differently a little bit, so everything that I set is like, it's the same on all of my characters. So when I go and create new character and I want to keybind everything, I know already the rules that I set on every of my other characters, so it's easy for me to get adopt into the new playstyle and stuff. So for example, I'm also using this mouse, which has a lot of buttons. You cannot really see it because my cable is stuck somewhere, apparently. Wait a second. God. Well, professional YouTuber would probably cut this part, but I will not, to see the struggles of having like tight table. Alright. So there we go. This is the mouse that I use currently, Naga Trinity. Before that I used Rocket Tyon, so I want to have like a lot of buttons on my mouse, so I have extra keybinds. But for the purpose of this video, to tell you how easy it is to keybind without it, I will go ahead and use only like 2 buttons, because most of the mouses have 5 buttons, which means like 2 clicks middle mouse and 2 on the side or something. So those are the only buttons I'm gonna use. The same stuff goes for my interrupt. Interrupt on my DK is mouse button 4. So that's what I'm gonna set here, mouse button 4. For my stun, it's T. For like general purpose like AoE CC or something, I use a button that I don't really use that often. Like, how can I say? That I don't have to also use focus stuff on it. Like for example, on my Hammer of Justice, I want, for example, when I press T to stun my current target, when I press Shift T, I don't want to like lose this target and focus the other guy and stun him and then retarget the other guy, but I want to just focus target him without targeting him. So you basically set him up on focus, and with macro you can make this guy to hit current target or your focus target if you hold Shift. So on my blinding light, I don't need that, so I use a button later. I'll find a button. Usually it's like Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4. Those are my general purpose buttons on things that I need to click, but not often, and I can just click them once and forget about it, so I don't have to like spam it, like Crusader Strike or Judgment or Wrath of something like that, you know. So that's all. Also my hindrance is a slow that is a single target, but you can also focus target someone, so I press C on that one because I have my stun, my slow, everywhere is my C. So I use C because it's easy to reach, you know. So you open on target and C is just one button below your D, and it's pretty easy to click. Also for this I'll use V, because sometimes I do focus turn evil, or if like for example I play against DK, he's Lichborn, you can turn evil him and he get feared for like 8 seconds, or you can like I make a Control V, for example, to be like mouse over. So if I have like a gargoyle or some undead pet is chasing me and I wanna not target him but still fear him, I can just mouse over with Control V. That's also another trick I will show you later with the macroing. Also another button here I have, it's, you know, like repentance I never use really, so I don't really have like a button for it. I can like probably put it on X, you know, because this is where my you see a pattern C V X, it's close, right? So those are some of my buttons that I can do. Also here I can do E, because I can do also focus E, like Shift E and Hammer of Wrath my focus. If my focus is close to die or something, I'm targeting the other guy and he thinks that he's in the safe, I focus Hammer of Wrath him, maybe finish him or something. I don't know, I've seen some plays with focus Hammer of Wrath for me, so I use E here because it's very close to my fingers, usually, and I can spam it, and I can also make Shift E and do that stuff. This I use Control E, because Shift E I usually use either target or focus, and I don't use Arena 1, Arena 2, Arena 3 or this on this guy anyway, so Control E is like that stuff, because Control generally just I don't use for my focus targets, for focus target stuff. So yeah. Then we have the Divine Storm. Divine Storm, you can also use some general keybind. Later we're gonna figure out which general keybinds, because I have a couple buttons that I need general keybinds on, right? Also Seraphim goes on general keybind, like Shift 1, probably like, let's go Shift 1 that, or actually Shift 1 this. Execution Sentence, I want to sometimes surprise people and just make a focus execution sentence, switch on the guy and destroy him. So I, for example, hit the priest and then I make you know, like Final Reckoning, both of them are affected. I make the execution sentence on the rogue, I do Wake of Ashes, I do one Templar Verdict, I stun the priest, you know, I switch to the rogue, I smack him once or twice, execution sentence drop, he's dead. So I want to also have like a control over my execution sentence, so I'm gonna use a keybind that I can use like Shift on, like it's not already like Shift 4 for example, right? So what else I have left? So I have E, alright, I can make that stuff there. This is also a general button, I can use Shift 2 on that one, I can use Shift 3 on this one, I can use Shift 4 on my Holy Avenger, right? And now I have left with these two buttons that I need to find some general stuff, you know. Usually Control 1, 2, 3 or 5 with Control are reserved for pets, so if I'm really sure that my class will never have a pet where I need to like use my, you know, reuse my keybinds and stuff, or refine new keybinds, like Unholy Decay has a pet, so Control 1 is attack, Control 2 is like stay or come back, Control 3 is like move to or something, I don't know, Control 4 is some of the bars or something. So Control 1, 2, 3, 4 on like DK, on Warlock, Hunter or something like that has pets, I don't recommend using, but on this guy, since I don't have anything like that, I will use like, for example, Control 1 and 2 on these guys, because it's easy to reach and I don't really spam these buttons, except this one, so I maybe need to find some better keybind for this. Maybe make like, alright, so Wake of Ashes I can make on Q, because it's also something that I use. I can make, for example, Shift Q this one, and I have released two buttons now, that's good. So I can make Shift 2 on the Seraphim, and that's all. And then I can make Shift Q this one. I have Control Q as well left for something else, maybe I can use it on this one. You know, so just generally setting up some keybinds around there, you know, because Q is usually like something that I need to press often, but not that often, like Death Pact on DK, Control Q, or Shift Q or something. I have some other keybinds like that, like Dispersion, or actually no, Shadow Form and Cancel Shadow Form. I have Shift Q and Cancel Q, Control Q on my Priest, and that's basically it. Now I have to find some keybinds for these things, you know, here. These are the defensives. So this is something that I need to press often as well, but it can use general keybind, you know, like something that I find difficult to press on repeated basis is Shift G, you know. So G and Shift G are buttons that I use generally for my defensives, like Anti-Magic Shell or Shield of Vengeance, for example. This stuff can go on G. Where's my G? Oh, I've left the keybind mode. All right, so G and Shift G I can use on this stuff. Now I have my my bubble, so now bubbles and stuff, this is also some general keybind. I don't know, like for bubble I haven't really figured out anything. I can probably use like T maybe, or something, some general keybind that I cannot really press that often, but also something that can be done. Or actually, you know what, oh no, tilde key is my TeamSpeak as well. Maybe T is not that bad of keybind. There we go, T, we can set that up on T, because T is something far, I cannot really use Shift T that much. I mean, I can, I have long fingers, but for some people it will be not really usable. So that's it. Now, I have two more buttons here. Usually, I use my Dispel and Shift Dispel and Control Dispel. So Shift Dispel, for example, Dispel is for me, Shift Dispel is for Arena Mate 1, Arena Mate 2 is Control Dispel. Now, I generally, Blessing of Sanctuary, I use on this middle button here, this mouse button 5 or 6 or 7 or something, I don't even know. So that's what I use generally for my Dispel. So you see, this is how I use this stuff, basically. F5 and F6, because this is part of my keybinds. But you have other things, like for example, let's go to the Word of Glory. For example, people don't realize that you can use one keybind that no one really uses. Word of Glory is a button that you want to spam when you want to spam it, because sometimes like you just cast Crusader Strike and your global cooldown is running around for a second and a half, you want to spam it meanwhile whenever the global cooldown comes off, so you can save your ally really quick. And you want to spam that button, but not really spam like for 3 seconds or 4 seconds or something like Crusader Strike you would maybe, or whatever else, right? So Word of Glory is a keybind. Like, there are some keybinds that you can spam, but not really spam. Like, you can use it in a spammy way, but not really, not really spam the button per se. Like, scroll positions, right? So scroll up, for example. So let's go through that first. I will make shift scroll up and shift scroll down to be, for example, I can make shift scroll up to be for healing myself, and I can make shift scroll down, make a keybind around here somewhere, make a macro and set the macro there. So whenever I make shift shift scroll down, it heals my arena mate 1, so arena 1, right? And if I, for example, make shift middle mouse click, it heals my arena mate 3 or 2 basically. So if I play let's say hunter, priest and ret, I have my hunter always set on like the first position, and my disc on the third position, and I always know that arena 1 is my DPS, arena 2 is my healer. So I always kind of set the things up like that with names in the macros directly if I have like set team. But usually arena 2 goes on my click and arena 1 goes on my down. So I heal with shift scroll down my arena mate, and I shift scroll middle click on my, middle button click. If you just click it, you can click it. So if you click it, that is another keybind that you can use. Also, you can use control scroll up and control scroll down. Those are also things like you can use for, let's say, for Hands of Freedom, right? So this is your heal, or no, actually for the, control scroll up is my flash of light on myself, control scroll down is flash of light on my body, and then control middle click is heal for my arena mate 2, so the healer or something. This is something that I generally never use. Like I press it on H, I can still reach H, but it's not like it's 15 minutes cooldown. I generally never use that stuff, so that's pretty much all to that. And now we have to set up these 2 abilities as well. Now, Bubble is still not solved that it will be on T, because T is a keybind that it's closer to my fingers. I would like to reserve it to something like my T there, so maybe like shift T will be still something that is easily reachable for bopping your target, bopping your teammates, or something like that. Control T, you can do like, for example, T is for yourself, shift T is for your arena mate, and control T is for your arena mate 2. So that is one thing you can do. Also for freedom, I don't know, like I generally use these down row buttons for freedom and for sacrifice as well. For bubble, I don't even know. Like bubble, you can set any button you want. Like control, what we haven't used. Like you can use for bubble, for example, control 1. I think I haven't used, right? Yeah, you can do control 1 on that stuff. And then for these 2 buttons, you have to find a button that is easily reachable for you. Like some people want to use well, B's for my bags, of course. We're gonna set that up later. You can use what else? Y is easily reachable, right? So you can use shift Y and shift control Y. There is also, if you have extra buttons on your mouse, you can use one of those as well, because I use that for this kind of two keybinds. You can also use like F1, F2, F3. So for example, I have freedom for myself F1. I remember on my old red, that's how I've used it. F2 for my freedom 3, and for my freedom, for my freedom 2 and 3, so for my arena mate 1 and 2. And then F1 is for myself. It's easy to reach, and it's convenient, basically, buttons. And then for your sacrifice, you can use whatever, like literally. For example, for my sacrifice, I can use like Y as well, right? So Y, shift Y, control Y, that's easy to reach, I think, for me at least. I have long fingers. And that's pretty much all. Like, now, you have also another keybind that it's kind of controversial. I want to keep my backpedaling button, not because I backpedal in arena or whatever, but sometimes, I move in a strafe and there is something happening here. Instead of moving my camera and stuff, I like to sometimes, like, I don't know how can I say, but it's like just a mini pixel or something to move. Maybe it's not the correct way or something, but I know that with strafing is a lot better, and I don't know, man. Sometimes like my back pedal, I find it useful. Some people use S as another keybind stuff. I've used it as well. Shift S and Control S, of course, I always use. If you're a Bastion, I mean, I've used my Bastion, for example, to call the guy. Control S, I call the guy, and Shift S is always my health stone or my file of serenity or something like that. All of my classes. So those are like general rules that you can use. Like these are the things that you can remember, and these are the things that you can remember and apply to any of your gameplay, basically, to any class, to anything like that. Like if you remember that my finishers is always on E, I know that if I play Hunter tomorrow and my finisher is here on E, I know that my Hunter will have E as a kill shot, or whatever class, right? So if what else can I play? Like, yeah, Touch of Death or something is on my X, but I don't really use many keybinds on my monk because it doesn't have as many buttons. Red paladin is I picked intentionally because he has a lot of support buttons, so we can exhaust every option out of our keyboard for keybinds and stuff. But that's generally all when it comes to like keybinding your red, right? And then you're gonna have different trinkets and stuff around. For keybinds that you haven't used, you can use any of the trinkets. Like, I mean, any keybind that you haven't used, you can use trinkets. If people use Alt as well. I generally don't use Alt because I cannot press Alt and 2, for example, easily without letting go of my W or something. Or, it's kind of gimmicky for me. So if you want to have like, especially for Alt scroll up, Alt scroll down, you can use those things as well. And, Alt, I don't know, like Alt F maybe can be useful, Alt C, Alt T or something like that can be, those can be a couple buttons that you can use, especially for some of the buttons we haven't really bound yet. But I found Alt to not be particularly good for my hand. Maybe for your hand it will be good. So that's all. Now let's go jump to some of the macros that I wanted to show you. Alright, so first thing I want to say here is like cursor macros. Like for example, for Final Reckoning, I will never really go while doing my rotation and line up my Final Reckoning like this. I generally just make a macro that will cast it on cursor. So, dang, you see? Instantly, I just know that I want to make it here and I don't have to like click or something like that, because sometimes cursor bugs like this. It doesn't, for me, it's less buggy. So what you do is just make a hashtag show tooltip, which makes the macro. If you don't do show tooltip, it will just say the macro name when you hover over with the mouse. Show tooltip is actually showing the abilities after show tooltip, the tooltip of that ability. So when I hover over, it shows the full spell. If I remove this, for example, you see it will just show me Final Rec is my name here. So that is something that is a good habit. You can also type any ability like Hammer of Wrath here. It will not cast the ability, but it will make your button to look like Hammer of Wrath. This is useful for some things, for some scenarios, especially for abilities that you don't want to track. Particular ability, like for example, you don't want to track the cooldown of your, let's say, Flash of Light, so you put it here, but you want to track on something useful that you don't want to like, or you want to double abilities. Like that's why people have double abilities on their bars. If you've seen some high-rated players, they have like, for example, I don't know, some silence or hex or some ascendance or something is on double time on their buttons, and that is how they're doing it. They make a macro for something else, like for example for Crusader Strike or something, I don't even know, like some abilities that they use regularly and they don't want to check the cooldown of. They make that into a macro, and then, like for example, if I want to track my cooldown of Final Reckoning, what I'm gonna do is like copy this stuff and make a new macro and make it, for example, I don't know, like Crusader Strike, for example, and make /cast Crusader Strike /start attack, and then I can go and set this, for example, to show tooltip Final Reckoning. Right? There we go. So if I go and click on the dummy, and if I go and just click this button, what it will do is start attack and make a Crusader Strike, as you can see, but it will show me the cooldown of Final Reckoning. So if I put it here, for example, if this was an ability I don't want to, like, there is no cooldown to it, like Flash of Light, Shadow Mend, something else, like doesn't have a cooldown, you can make it that way. For Whirlwind, for example, for Warrior, you can set Whirlwind to not show the cooldown because it's always there. Like you can use the button, for example, I don't know, 4 is on my Warrior, and I can put that there and, you know, make start attack to start generating rage, and then make whirlwind in the macro, and then as show tooltip I'll set recklessness or my fear or something, a cooldown that I want to track. So, and then double on that, because the more buttons you have occupied with single keybind, it's easier for you to notice in the middle of the fight. Like you throw a quick glance on your bars and you see like if there are 4 things showing you the recklessness or fear cooldown or something, it's easier for your mind to spot that in the millisecond. So that's why high rank player are doing that stuff in order to make their, you know, play more efficient, less time looking for spells and abilities and more time for pew pew. So that's why they're doing it, and that is what show tooltip is basically. That's why it took me so long time to explain this stuff, because I wanted to give you a real example for it. That is why this video is all about. Man, it's like already 35 minutes, but I told you guys it will be a long ride, but if you follow these stuffs along with me, it's easy peasy for you. So show tooltip, this is one way of doing this stuff, like Hammer of Justice. This is what I was talking to you about. So if you want to make a Hammer of Justice, for example, I will go step by step. So you make show tooltip as always, and then you can make cast, and then you can make Hammer of Justice. And this is how you make a simple macro to just cast your Hammer of Justice without any other options, right? Now you can make another stuff. If you type in parentheses, or actually this is flat brackets, I don't know how they're called actually. If you make into flat brackets, which is next to your P button, I believe, or something to the right, and without shift, I think with shift is the curly. So if you make the flat brackets and then you type inside, for example, moderator shift, this is one condition that you add. And currently shift is not pressed, so, you know, show tooltip will not show you the tooltip, because as it is right now, if you click the button, it does nothing. So that's why it doesn't show any tooltip. If you click shift, then the tooltip shows up, and then it tells you that now Hammer of Justice will be casted when you click the button. So that's how we do, like moderator. This means moderator. So if I hold shift, this action will be done. So you can do this stuff, and then you can add more conditions here. For example, if I press shift, I want to target my focus. So target equal focus is whenever I press shift. For example, let me show you. So focus / focus, if you target anything and make / focus, you can also make macro for it. Like for example, focus / focus there, and put this in a keybind. I don't know, like I usually have my trinket on F, my shift F is my racial stuff, whatever it is. Sometimes it's trinket, sometimes it's like the blood fury if I place troll, right? Not blood fury, but whatever fury it is. And then control F is like set keybind, set focus for me. So it's always like that. It's been always like that, and that's what I use. So if I, for example, target this guy and press control F, it's set to focus for me. So I will target the dummy just to tell you what this means. So if I go and take this, what is it? Hammer of Justice did. You see, I don't really target anything, like I don't have any target. It shows here if I target something, right? So I don't really target anything, but I press the button and it casted to my focus, it casted Hammer of Justice. So that is how you do it. In Arena, this is like the first rule you have to use and the first rule you have to understand. Playing Arena without this stuff, man, it hurts. First of all, it hurts to do that to yourself, and then it hurts your rating, it hurts your improvement. So this is the first thing you want to adopt. Make your focus macros, right? So this is how you make the same button to do the same stuff as well. So you can make it this way, right? This is the lazy way that I call it. I mean, not the lazy way, but the long way actually. So if you type it here, no mod, and make Hammer of Justice, you see that the icon change even though I don't press shift. Now it means if I press no moderators and click button, then cast the Hammer of Justice on whoever I target, right? If I press moderator shift and target the focus. Now there is a better way of writing these macros. Let me just tell you that. So if I do this, if I just delete this, so I can do that, and then I can make dot comma. I don't know how is that called. It's a separator, but I don't know how it's called. It's like dot comma basically. Instead of double dots, it's like dot comma, right? And then it make Hammer of Justice. This is the better way of doing it, because if you make some long macros, you're gonna save up on space and your macro is looking like more clean and stuff, right? So what this means is like, if I cast this thing holding shift, then target my focus and cast Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Justice. If like, and this is where the statement ends. And now the logical thing continues. Else, so if I don't hold shift, then do Hammer of Justice. So that is basically, instead of making like slash cast, no mode, blah blah blah, this is how you do it shorter way. So logically that is how it happens. So cast, if I hold shift and target the focus and cast Hammer of Justice. Else, Hammer of Justice. So it means else, just do, like, target whoever I target. Now you can also make like, for example, mod control target equals arena 2, for example. I mean, this you will never use it this way, but you can make that, and then you can set this like make it as lengthy as you can. It cycles through the logical statements that you put always. Like, for example, it will always execute the first one if it matches the criteria you are selecting here. So if this criteria is met, then I will do this and it will stop. And then if this is not met, then it cycles to the next one and says, if this is met, then I will do this. If that is not matched as well, then just cast Hammer of Justice. So you can make like really long macros like this that makes like a lot of logical statements. If I have mouseover, then do this. If I don't have mouseover, then do this. Like you can make a bunch of macros this way. I'm just telling you the logical way, and you can just figure out how you can make your own macros for some things. But generally, this is how it's used, right? If you want to make it for Arena 1, Arena 2, then what you need to do is just do here mod, for example, mod shift at, also instead of typing target equals, you can make at arena 1 and then the spell and then separation thingy, and then make for example mod control and then at arena 2, right? Or actually you want to start with shift on arena 2 and then here be arena 3, because, and then we cast the same X spell, and then for the arena 2, so here arena 1 you type at arena 1, of course, and then you cast a spell. So what it does here, it says if I press shift, target arena 2. If I press control, target arena 3, right? So if I press control, and if I don't press any button, like any modifier, if I just press the button, for example T, just cast it on arena 1. So what you do here with this add-on is like saying that if I press T, it will stun the arena 1. If I press shift T, arena 2, and if I press control T, arena 3. This is useful macro, especially for silences and stuff, something that you can cast on like their whole team, but you don't want to set like change focuses all the time, change macros and stuff all the time. You can have like certain keybinds to just be for arena specific situations. For example, I press my mouse button 4 on my mouse, is like just for arena, and it stuns like arena 1, arena 2, arena 3, and I don't have to like change the focus all the time. I also have a button that are the next row that focuses different arena members, so I can make a macro that focus, or you can actually do that through the keybinds. So if you go, for example, and you want to learn, because if you are an arena player, you want to learn these things like targeting macros. If you go over to targeting here, you see there is target arena enemy 1. You can set this, for example, for one button. For me, usually is this, and then that, and then this, which are I have set to be bound to these buttons on my mouse. So you cannot see. So this, so the second row of my buttons on my Naga, right? So you can target arena 1, arena 2, arena 3. You can also set this stuff for party member 1, 2, 3. So actually no, this is how I do it. Party 1, and then the next row is for arenas. So I do that, I do this, and I do that, right? So these are my buttons that when I'm in arena, it just serves the keybinds to make those things on my mouse. So arena 1, arena 2, arena 3, you don't have to make in keybind. You can basically target and just press your ability and then target back if you're really quick on switching. But I'm not really, so I use this really rarely, honestly. But I want to get better with them, so I'm just having them as an option on my mouse. Sometimes when I'm in clutch situations, it actually helps, especially when there is like unholy DK and something else with images and stuff, like mage and monk and stuff. You have like different 20 pets and you cannot really see where the guy is or how like to target him or something. So instead of moving your mouse cursor to Gladius and clicking on the guy, you can use Arena 2, target DK, do something on him, then target Arena 1 as well. It's something that you want to use, get used to playing with, especially if you want to climb high. You know, this season for Shadowlands gives insane mount, and I know that a lot of people will go for it. What was it? Was it Sinful? No. Gladiator. Well, it doesn't show here, but you can find it. Sinful Gladiator mount, I think it's called, and it's insane. I love it, and I will probably go for it. So I wanted to share some knowledge because I needed to change my keybinds anyway on my red, and this is how I'm gonna probably play the whole arenas with. I mean the whole season with. So that's about the focus stuff. You can do it this way, you can do it that way. It's really up to you. So that's how I do my Hammer of Justice, and that is done. So if I go, for example, here now, and I make this in focus, and I target this, if I do that, it's immune, but it doesn't matter, you saw the point, right? So I fight the rogue, and I want to stun the guy here, like and you can do the same for Repentance, for example, right? So if you go and copy this stuff, and make new, and make rep, and then do this, and then change this to Repentance, or something, and then you copy this, and then you say, oops, oh my god, oh well, you see, Repentance, alright, so, dude, what's up with my Repentance, alright, so home you don't really use on this, yeah, I forgot it's not new row, so it just selected everything, Repentance, there, and then there. Now if I cast it, it says invalid target because these guys are not really like CCable or whatever, but that's the same stuff, man. You just basically change. You want to make for turn evil, you can do that as well. You want to make for turn evil the stuff that I told you before, you can do it this way, for example. So show tooltip, and then that, and then I copy this. You see, if cursor exists, then cast it on turn evil. Then if it doesn't exist, you can make it like, for example, wait, I have the macro here. I mean, this macro is actually pretty good. You know, I can complicate it a bit more if you want to make like a focus or something, but you will never focus a creature that has, except if it's a DK. So if you want to make the DK, you can make it with this. So if I, for example, cast, oops, where is it? So if I, for example, put turn evil here, if I cast it, right? So if I cast it, it will say invalid target, but it still has a target. Now you have no target, of course. What? Why doesn't they change it? Cursor exists. Wait, I cannot find it. Well, if I had something to cast it on, it would have worked, because you see, it's normal logical stuff. It works. I don't know why it doesn't. Now it's just derps, but it doesn't matter. In case where you have something to fear, basically, it will tell you. So add cursor exists, turn evil, and then turn evil. Yeah, this works for sure, 100%. So for some reason right now it's just derping me around. So that's for turn evil macro. What else there is good? So yeah, this is for party 1, party 2, party 2. You can do the same stuff with party 1, party 2, party 3. For example, I want to make Hand of Sacrifice. You see, it's the same stuff. I press mod, for example. If I want to cast target sacrifice party 1, mod Blessing of Sacrifice, then mod control targets party 2 here. This was one of my mates that I played with. I usually put names there, so I always like have my healer on control, my DPS on shift, and myself is without any modifiers. So you see, or like whoever I have target will cast it. So that's the same stuff, how you do it. If you want me to paste some of these macros in description, you can tell me and I'll do it, but generally this is how you do it. And then if I had a party member now, if I press shift Y, oops, that's not Y. So if I press, oops, that's Y actually, but you see, listen, sometimes you're gonna have default, like on these keybinds that you use here, sometimes you're gonna have default keybinds, like shift Y right now. You see, it opens my statistics, and that's not good, because I want shift Y to actually be casted on the on the party member. So how I do it is I go into keybinds and I find something is not used. For example, I don't know, unsheath the weapon. I don't have it used now. So if I press shift Y and control Y there, and I press OK, then it will clean those things up, right? It will sheet this stuff, and then if I go and unbind those binds, it removes the binding from that stuff. So now I press Shift Y and it actually works. So what you do is basically you remove the keybind from your statistics table by binding that keybind to something else that is irrelevant, and then you just go and unbind that stuff, and it's literally you just you know, remove the keybind from anything else, and it means that your Shift Y will work. So sometimes people are wondering like, why am I why I'm pressing Shift R and Shift R doesn't work? Because you have something by default or something from before bound already on Shift R. So what you need to do is do the same stuff that you just did and remove the keybind for it. So that's one trick that I have learned over the years. The easiest way to clear up keybinds for things is basically just to bind them to something else and unbind them later. Right, so that's for the sacrifice. Now if I had party member, that would have worked. Right, for freedom it's easy. You can also set for things like Word of Glory, for example. I want to have like, you cannot set abilities to change the keybind. So because it's different keybind for me, if I want to if I want to heal myself with Word of Glory, it's different keybind completely. It's not like the same button, like it's not the R and Shift R, it's like scroll up and scroll down. You have to make two separate macros for things like that, and I have done. Right, so Word of Glory, party member 1, it's that's not the one, and then this is, for example, target. I can just no need a target. If I type exclamation point, if I make @player, when I do this, it will always cast on me. Now I have no. Let's see. Where is my? Oh shit. So that's the thing. Wait a second. So this is Shift Q. This is. Oops. This is Shift Q. This is Q. All right. That's how I'm used to. So Q is that, and then I have 3 holy powers. Do I? No. Now I have. Now if I press Shift scroll up, you see I've placed it here for you know, wherever I make the keybind before. So right, the macros, you remember, player is Shift scroll up, party 1 is Shift scroll down. So that's basically it, you know. So you have to make different macros for things like this if they're on separate buttons, you know. And this is considered as a separate button, up and down. And now I have to make another one for party 2, which is Word of Glory party 2. There we go. And then I make party 2. I can just remove this to make it cleaner. Party 2, and then I can set this stuff up there and make a keybind. Make a keybind to make it on, Shift click mouse button, right? This was Word of Glory for me, this was Word of Glory for party 1, and then I feel like it's gonna work. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, it works perfectly. Those are the buttons as well. Since I used here, for example, you know, the freedom goes the same, because if I want to make F1, F2, F3, I don't recommend using Shift 1, Shift F1, Shift F2, and Control F1, because it's kind of gimmicky to reach it. I would say use just Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3 as general keybinds. But if you want, you can make some potions or something on Shift 1, F1, because you're never gonna use that stuff, and especially not Alt F4, guys, please. All right, that's one thing. So yeah, for freedom, I will have to make the same macros, and for this stuff, it will be pretty much the same as sacrifice, you know. So you can copy the same macro and make Blessing of Protection, for example, right? And I can just change this to protection. Ooh. So I can just change this to protection, and then copy it, and then go here and paste it, and then go here and paste it. There we go, and now it works for Blessing of Protection as well. And whatever keybind I'm gonna use, which probably will be one of my mouse buttons or something. Whatever keybind I use, it's gonna be, you know, that stuff. I think it's Blessing of Protection will be this one and that one. All right. Let me just set these keybinds real quick. So what have I sent on my middle? Nothing. All right. So I can set it on my middle. This is my middle, and this is my there. Alright, so I have the dispel, I have the blessing of protection, and I have the blessing of the sacrifice stuff. And the same goes for freedom for myself, because I'm gonna use my mouse buttons for it. You don't have to. Freedom. There. Then and then you just have to do here freedom. Freedom. And then freedom. There. And that keybind is set as well. So most of, like, more or less all of my keybinds are done, except for one, which is my rebuke, which basically follows the same logic as my hammer of justice. Rebuke. There we go. And then rebuke as well. There. So for rebuke done as well. For hindrance it's the same stuff. So I can just copy this and make new, slow, slow, and then make the hand of hindrance or something, right? Hand of hindrance. Hand of hindrance. I believe it's how it's called. And then copy this stuff and paste it. Hindrance. Alright, I think it's gonna work that. There we go. And that's all. Like, these are all the macros that you need to have. Yeah, I said the execution sentence. I'm gonna do that. I will do that later. And also one more macro, which I use for my Swifty burst. That's my wings. So whenever I pop wings, I use the whatever trinket I have for damage, if I have any. Like right now I don't, so I will just delete this. This was for the essence. I don't need that now. Holy Avenger as well. If I go play with Holy Avenger, I usually want to line it up with my wings. You can line it with every second wings, basically, so that is, you know, like when you pop your cooldowns, you pop Holy Avenger, you pop your everything, and you just go ham, right? And you just spam basically everything, and then it will pop. Psh. And it did certain amount of damage, right? How much it did? 11,000, and it was normal hit. If it crits, it will be 22. In PvP, it will be probably like about 15k or something. If it crits, and you've done like Wake of Ashes and 2-3 Templar Verdicts in it, it will probably do like a lot. So that's all, pretty much. Word of Glory I've done. I want to have actually this one there. These ones are good. So whenever I press shift scroll up, it does that. And then Word of Glory here. Let's probably shift scroll down, and this is for myself. This is for my party one. There we go. I think that's how it is. Word of Glory healer. That's the one. Alright. Yeah, healer, and then that one, good. And that's all the keybinds, guys. I don't know. That's basically what I've you know done. I don't know if I have any other macro that I didn't show, or anything that you wanna know about these things. But this is how I set my things up. And of course, you know, if you want to set the bars and everything like this, you can use, you know, bartender. I'm getting this from ElfUI. I've made my UI available on Patreon if you want this exact one, but it's easy to make it by yourself. You know, it's just basically just install ElfUI and Benic UI on top of it and just change some things around. That's all I've done, and make like pixel perfect on everything, so it doesn't really cover everything for myself. I kind of hate when that happens. I moved around things that I don't need to see on my screen, and just left the things that I want to see, and that's all. So yeah, that's how I set up my UI and my keybinds and my macros, guys, for playing PvP, for playing PvE, for everything. This is useful for PvE as well, because sometimes, for example, I don't know, let's say Blood Council in Natria, you're, for example, red, and you're gonna be assigned to like interrupt Frida. You need to hit Niklaus or whatever it's called, the other guys, Stratos, Karos, Maros, I don't even know, it's some Stavros, right? So you need to hit Stavros, but you need to interrupt Frida. You set it up on focus, and whenever it casts, you're gonna see the cast time, and you're just basically still hitting Stavros. But if Frida is, for example, this one, and you're hitting Stavros still, you can just go and do that, and I've interrupted. You see, without targeting, I've interrupted this target by shift clicking my bind. So this is also very useful in PvE as well. You can make these stuffs to work up to party 5, like you can make it up to party 4 actually. So if you are if you want to be a professional Mythic Plus guy and you want to like react in a millisecond or something, you might want to bind this up to like in the macro up to like party 4 or something, and for yourself that's 5 binds. So those are things that you can find like generally useful in PvE, and usually like you need to learn a lot more in PvP than in PvE when it comes to binding and macroing. And these are the general, like all the knowledge generally that I have. I mean, there are of course different things and stuff that I want to share are more advanced in macroing. If you want to know more about this stuff, of course leave the comments down below and I will share some of those. But that can be something like, for example, you can make in one macro to purge and dispel, right? So mouse over, dispel, mouse over, macro. So for, let's say that it's you're a shadow priest or something, right? And you want to, if you, for example, target an ally, you dispel him. If you target a guy, you purge him, right? They're both different abilities, but you can make it in one bind. So you can make, for example, cast let's say harm. If it's harm, then purge, or dispel magic, I think it's called on that guy. And if it's for example or yeah, if it's friendly, was it friendly, or otherwise, you can just make it for example cast purify or whatever it is for purifying, purify disease maybe, and dispel magic for priests, and cleanse or something. I don't know how what's called the shaman dispel. I don't really play that many shamans. So harm and help, yes. So the other one is help. So harm and help. So for example, if I, for example, let's say, I will show you a simple hammer of justice. And if I target help, cast, I don't know, flash of light. Is it called flash of light or flashlight? Flash of light. So that's in like a really quick scenario. So for example, if I target this guy, where is it? What macro was that? Purge, right? So if I press a friendly target, it will cast flash of light. If I target this guy, wait, what? Harm hammer of justice. Why doesn't it work? Maybe if it exists or something. Huh. Maybe because this is not harm. Maybe because it's yellow. It usually works. Like if you type like this, like harm for example, and help, it will, like for example, it will purge if it's enemy, and if it will dispel if it's friendly. It also works with, for example, add mouse over. And like this, add mouse over, and then if you, for example, this is useful for BG. Let me just see if this works. It doesn't, for some reason. Maybe it's harm then mouse over. I don't know. Mouse over maybe goes here. Maybe first, yeah, first is the logical thing, then it's the, alright, so yeah, you see, I target this guy, it doesn't work. What? If you had a space, maybe that made it. Huh. Wait, does it work like overall? I believe they didn't change anything to macroing, man. Ah, so there it is now. Yeah, now it works. There. So if I target whoever with mouse over, it actually works like this. As well, if I believe, if I make like, now I'm trying to prove my point here, but I cannot really make it work for some reason. Harm at mouse over hammer of justice. Yeah, you can make it like this as well, but I cannot really find a harp. Oh, there you go. So now it works. So if I press, if I have enemy, it will target and cast Hammer of Justice. You see, we fixed it, guys. There is no reason for panic. Then if I go do this, it will cast. You see, it will tell me. Look at the show tooltip now. I mean the tooltip. So if we hover over enemy, it tells me it will cast Hammer of Wrath. If I target ally, it will cast this stuff. It's useful for people that want to save on keybinds, especially like Shadow Priests and stuff, where you have like million buttons to press, especially on shamans as well. Million totems, elementals, spells, abilities, dispels, stuns, all that stuff. You have to press, basically make some buttons for it. And this kind of helps, you know, you can use like one keybind for multiple things. I guess I will leave you with this kind of last tip or something. If I make some, you know, more things come up to my mind, I'll make another video. Sorry for the lengthy video, guys, but it is what it is. I record this live. I didn't really felt like editing or something, because I feel like all of this stuff is kind of useful information to kind of share the mindset of how to set these things up, so you generally know how to keybind everything. I mean, I can give you like a screenshot of my keybinds and you just copy them and use them as well, but they won't really fit everyone, and also they will not, the people will know like why these guys set these things up like this, like why bind Control 1 on the bubble, because I can easily click it every time I like, and I don't have to spam it. If Control 1, I set like Control 1 to be my Blade of Justice, that's kind of stupid, because you know, you have to like spam it sometimes. You cannot really spam it while holding control, because you cannot, like, your index finger, it's already blocking one of your, I mean, your pinky is already like holding control, and if you want to click something meanwhile and you need to spam this, like move, you're pressing Control A, Control D, Control S, so you need to basically like cycle between, and it's not really efficient, right? So try moving and pressing Control 2 in the same time. You'll see what I'm talking about. Like this, maybe it seems like it's nothing important, but when you actually use it for a long time, you'll understand the weaknesses of bad keybinds. So this is how I've honed my keybinds over the years of you know, playing the game for 15 years. And if you have anything to add or something that I've forgotten, feel free to let me know down in the comments, guys. Thank you all for watching. I doubt that anyone watched this much, but if you did, guys, cheers for staying around. I mean, hope it helped you. It's not for me, basically. With one video a month or something, I don't really do much money, so it's literally for you if you stayed up till the end. And hopefully it will help you, and see you all in the next one. I've made today a Patreon guide as well if you want to check it out. It's nice, you know, farming and leveling spot. And yeah, anyway, thank you guys. See you later, and have a nice weekend or something. Bye bye then. Umre off.